So here's the very latest. I'm told the Chicago Bears are trying to make a move on Russell Wilson, and they're trying to create a move that is so good Seattle can't say no. Now, Seattle would ideally not want to trade him to an NFC team. And this situation is Russell Wilson wants more say and thinks Seattle's offensive line and Pete's outdated offense are the reasons they're struggling. Pete Carroll thinks that Russell Wilson is responsible for a lot of the problems and interceptions. That's not going to change. That's how they see the world. My feeling's always been, fellas, get over it and just deal with your tension. Brady and Belichick had tension. Get over it. But now I have no idea how Chicago is going to make this work. They don't have a quarterback to give Seattle, and they don't have a great draft pick to give Seattle because they made the playoffs. Here's how it works. Chicago gives Seattle 5 first-round picks. Now, they may not be great picks if they get Russell Wilson, but they give them 5 first-round picks. Nobody else is probably going to offer that. And then Seattle has a deal to get a quarterback simultaneously with that. Keep your eye on Sam Darnold, USC guy, Pete Carroll, USC guy. In December, here's what Pete Carroll said about Sam Darnold. I think he's really talented. Great throws. He's a real quarterback. He sees things. He makes big plays and big throws in difficult situations because of his talent. It's just a matter of time. Sam's going to be a really big-time quarterback. He's thrown a lot of balls in 3 years. He's had a lot of experience. It's going to pay off in the long run. Sounds like Pete Carroll likes Sam Darnold. So you get all those first-round picks from Chicago. Remember, Seattle gave all their first-round picks up for Jamal Adams. You get them back, and then some. And then you get the quarterback who doesn't cost anything for a year. Seattle's going to have some dead money. That's ugly. But you're not going to pay Darnold for a year. So this thing is, and here's where I'll give Pete Carroll credit. In Pete Carroll's eyes, he's like, well, I rebuilt USC and I rebuilt Seattle. That's what I do. I don't inherit great teams. I inherit messes and fix them. And whereas the Houston Texans got their feet in the ground, the Houston Texans are a big question mark. Everything's uncertain. Pete Carroll pulls this off. You have certainty. We got an inexpensive, talented quarterback. We got a zillion picks. That's a bunch of certainty. Now, is giving up Russell Wilson ideal? No, and they'd like him to go to the AFC over the NFC, and Chicago knows that. Seattle's not too caught up, I'm told, on the dead money stuff. They don't care about that for a year. They don't. They'd like to get Russell to the AFC, but Chicago, that has not had a legitimate quarterback, like a big-time quarterback, since Sid Luckman, they don't have a feel for this position. We always say the Packers have a feel for offensive linemen. The Steelers have a feel for wide receivers. The Bears have a feel for defense. They got no feel for quarterback. And here you'd have one for a decade because you can't go against Aaron Rodgers twice a year with a bunch of Nick Foles and a bunch of Mitch Trubisky's. You can't do it. And Aaron's going nowhere for the next 7 years. So Chicago's trying to make it work. And keep your eye on Sam Darnold. That's how Seattle gets their quarterback. Very exciting stuff. So occasionally, okay, let's be honest. Usually we're right. I said Cam Newton was going to re-sign with New England. It makes a ton of sense. And I'm going to defend Cam Newton on something. So today, 1-year deal, $14 million. And why it works is, first of all, that's a very doable number. Second of all, a 1-year deal, New England can still draft a quarterback. But I think this is the move they should have made. This is the move, if I ran New England, I would have made, and here's why. Number one, quarterbacks are always better in year 2. Okay, Tom Brady is not going to have that September, October turbulence. Tampa Bay is going to go 15-1, 14-2, or 13-3. Brady's going to be better this year. So quarterbacks are always better in year 2. Secondly, Cam rushed for 12 touchdowns. Well, what about his throwing? They have nobody to throw to. So Cam did what he does really well. He gave them 12 rushing touchdowns, led the NFL. Number 3, it's a very team-friendly contract. Number 4, New England's coaching and their defensive special teams are great. They don't need to be a top 5 offense. They just have to be better than what they are at wide receiver. And number 5, and this is crucial, the AFC East outside of Buffalo is still a bunch of questions. We don't know what the Jets are doing. 2 in Miami. I mean, Buffalo's good, but Belichick's had a great deal of success against Josh Allen. He's given him fits. So, and here's the other thing. People are not being fair with Cam. And Cam's never been my favorite, and he's not very accurate. But let's be fair about this. So what happened in America that all sports leagues and the NFL had to deal with this season? COVID. And do you know anybody that's had COVID? I do. Not only do you get COVID, but it lingers for 2 and 3 weeks. That's for athletes. Old people, it lasts for 2 and 3 months. So Cam got COVID. And the first 2 games back from COVID, he was a mess. He was weak. He was tired. 0 touchdowns, 5 picks. So Cam's a big, strong athlete. He's not 70 years old. So he's going to recover quickly. So he gets COVID. He's out. He comes back for 2 weeks. He's got no juice. But let's go look at the last 9 games of the year where Cam, with team doctors, big, strong athletes, how'd he do? He had a passer rating of 90. He had 12 total touchdowns, completed 65% of his throws, and had a winning record. Cam was pretty good down the stretch. Again, throwing to interns. So the reality this morning, and I said this with Cam, this morning New England feels 9-7, 10-6 to me with Cam. Year 2, talent, team-friendly deal. Just go out and buy a wide receiver. Buy Hunter Henry, the tight end. Go buy Kenny Golladay. With this defense, with this coaching, Cam in year 2, still a ton of question marks in this division. And you're looking at a 9-7, 10-6 team that you're not going to want any part of, because the way Cam Newton and New England are going to run this offense stylistically, unless you have like Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, if you're preparing for New England in a playoff game, you don't have anybody in house that plays like Cam. So it's Cam's not your typical guy. You can't prepare for him. It's like one of the advantages to Lamar Jackson. How do you prepare for Baltimore? You don't have anybody in your camp that plays like him. And that was always the thing with Michael Vick. You couldn't simulate him at practice. That's a real thing. So this makes sense to me. It's always made sense to me. I don't buy all these quarterback prospects. I don't buy Mac Jones at all. I think my prediction is Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance are going to be the 2 home run quarterbacks. Everything else is a lot of nonsense and inconsistency, although I think Justin Fields has real talent. But this makes sense to me. They feel like a playoff team. They don't feel like a Super Bowl team, but they feel like they could, on any Sunday with Cam year 2, play with people. Now just go get Kenny Golladay. Just go pay for a receiver, because you can't figure out how to draft one. And everybody's got a hole in life. It doesn't matter if you're the best doctor, you're the best coach. Everybody's got a hole. New England can't draft college receivers. Go pay for one. Kenny Galladay's great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.